Okay. Yeah, we are on now.
Can I confirm that everyone can hear me?
I hear you.
All right. All right. So, Prof, I don't know. Can I still share, or if,
Yeah, it's like it's better. He prefers that you share.
or let me just have it in case of
Yeah,
try to
he
my.
wants you to. He prefers that you share, so that he will just speak to
Okay.
it. Yes.
All right. That's lovely then. Okay. Right. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, I'm really, really honored to be hosting today's webinar, and I'm really excited about the topic on structured thinking model. Um, I'm sure that we might have, one of the things that it's imperative in every person's life. You're doing business, you're doing life, you're doing marriage, you're working with people, you're looking for money. One of the things that is basic for human is solving problems. So I'm really excited to be, at this webinar. I'm sure that you are too. So if you are joining so early, I want to say a big shout out to you. And I'm really excited that you joined very early be to join this conversation with Mr. Morebise. Before we have him on board, we just do a bit of housekeeping. And we're starting with introducing ourselves, and also we would be doing a lot of accent questions too, and also giving people to join in. So our host should be joining very soon. So I would just encourage us to relax, and yes, and our able props too is also here. Yeah, we have so many conversations that we'll be having today, conversations that are, trending online. I think that actually could have breathed this topic, structured thinking. How do we solve problem? And then there is also a current narrative of the Olodo uprising. I'm sure that we've heard about the Olodo uprising, and it's everywhere, And the question is, how do we really solve problem? How do we think critically? And there is also this narrative that we have a serious gap in which young Africans are not thinking critically, we're not solving problems. Just recently, I think was it last week, the co-founder of Flutterwave in Yolua Boyede mentioned that we don't build. He said most of us in Africa, we don't build or focus on influencing. So how do we actually build stuffs that actually outlive us or actually solve societal problems? I don't want to talk out of context. The topic for today is actually how do we structure our thoughts. But the after effect of this is building things that will outlive us and also build things that are sustainable. So I want to say once again, you're welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'll be calling on us to introduce ourselves today. And if this is your first time joining the RBF forum. It's the Real Boys Forum. It's where men actually engage, have real conversations, and the goal is to become an holistic man. Holistic man in spiritual aspects, holistic in sense of mental upbringing, and also being able to stand the tide of what God actually has designed for the wholesome man. So, good afternoon. My name is Dapherede Damilola. I am a yeah, I'm just Dami today. I will be moderating today's webinar. I really don't want to talk much about myself. So, all right. So, I want to say, I'll just say a bit about myself. I want everyone to just give a brief introduction about yourself, what you do. So, my name is Dami. I am a AI educator, and also I do a bit of research. So I'm really glad to have everybody here. So we'll be looking at structured thinking and problem solving. Before we have our host, I would just give the room for everyone to introduce themselves. So, first off, I can see Mr. Adamo. So please just give us a heads up. Who is Mr. Adamo? Let's just do it in 1 minute or 30 seconds so that we can have room for other persons to join in. All right, we can take turns. If Mr. Adamo is not live, anyone can just unmute themselves, introduce yourself, what you do. Just give us a big context. I mean, we just need to get to know you. All right. I don't know if you heard him. All right. So what's going to happen now is that okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Lamileko. I really didn't hear you that much, but I'm sure that probably was your network. Okay. All right. I'm joining with Mr. Lafe. Yeah. Can you just do me a quick introduction? Just give us a heads up who you are, what you do. Briefly, let's just do it round wrap. We're men here, so it's a men conversation. So please just
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Dami. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alafe Anthony. Anthony, I'm a civil engineer, and I'm joining in from Ibadan. My favorite food is pounded yam and eforiro, and I'm glad to be here. God bless you.
lovely. Oh, I love that. Mr. Lafe is really, really, really excited to have you join us today. Like, we have strong men in this call, to be sincere. I'm seeing that Mr. Demola has actually joined. We've been looking for Mr. Demola to join our webinar on AI. And if you, I want to be a bit very explicit, or let me use the word raw, not the normal conventional. Mr. Ademola does this. But I can tell you for a fact, for many years ago, Mr. Ademola has been, I mean, he has been on this campaign against low critical thinking. If you check his post 5 years, track his post on Facebook, and he's off. I remember a post he posted many years ago, and I can tell you, I think those are the things that has actually even made me say, "Oh, I think it's possible. You think it should be an intentional thing as somebody who wants to build something that would last to have a PhD." And if you really move close to guys that are actually doing PhD in, and you realize that it just makes you be intentional about critical thinking. You want to solve a problem, and you have to be intentional about that, right? So and I remember when that post he kept pushing this narrative that you can't just say you want to build something, and he was driving that narrative that a PhD is a need for anyone who wants to actually solve problems. And I can tell you for a truth that while I was beginning to see the gap within my academics and also seeing that I needed to go back to school and see how best I can actually improve, you see that truthfully, school is never a scam. You see that most guys that have built something that is sustainable, even in the research company, in the AI space, you realize that most of these research companies are looking for PhD guys. Most of those research companies in AI, in every space, governance, ethics, engineering, the guys that are working there are mostly PhD guys. So, and you can tell that school is not a crime. It's not a scam, and the need for structural thinking helps you to solve problems, and not just that, it helps you to solve lasting problems, societal problems. All right, so I don't want today's webinar to be all about me. I will just do. I know that our guest is on the call now, so I would I would also want us, I'll call one more person to introduce themselves so that we can get to this topic. All right, we have I think we have Mr. Damilola. Please, can you just quickly introduce yourself, sir? Mr. Damilola. So let's just do it 1 minute, so that it's easier for us
Lovely. That was our
to
last
set.
speaker, our speaker for the last webinar. Thanks for being here again.
Yes, yes. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Akitunji Oluwadamilola. I'm a marine engineer, and I'm joining in live from the coast of Equatorial Guinea. And I'm really happy to be part of this. I am an healthy living enthusiast. So, and also I love being motivated into good things. I just love what the motivator, the coordinator of this program just said. It's about making people getting into education. So I'm really inspired being part of this, because it's one of the reasons I went back to school, and I really know that school is not a scam. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Dami. Thank you so much. We really, I think this is an African thing. So I believe that our host today he would be really pioneering how Africans should think. I just look forward to having so much to write about it in today's topic. Okay, thank you so much. I will just mention everybody who is on call. Esther, thank you for joining. Abiodun, thank you for joining. Damilola Kitunji, thank you for joining. And who again? Okay, I would call everybody's name. I know that we should be joining. Our webinar should start soon. We also have Mr. Oluwatobi Gusikende. I don't know if I pronounced that properly, so apologies if I made a bad, pronunciation. And I also have my boss too, Mr. Israel. So I'll just give Mr. Prof to do a quick introduction, and also so that we can get on the webinar while we also set up the slides. All right. So thank you everyone for joining. We'll be doing a quick introduction soon so that we can go live.
Yes, when
Prof,
we're doing the
you
mic
have the
check
floor, sir.
earlier, yeah, thank you. So when we're doing the mic check earlier, Dami was asking, he was telling me that a lot of people got interested, even his boss at work and everything. And he was asking where we got the topic from, and I'm like, it's a courtesy of our programs lead, Israel Iniolu Agunshola. He's also on this call, and so I had to ask him to how he got the topic. And I mean, somehow we are here today talking about this, and I think it's more like a boring topic in our modern society, but it is the boring stuff that actually advances society, and that's why I'm so excited. That when he sent me the topic, I was like, who can do this? So I just started racking my brain, and finally, I remember Mr. Ademola Morebise, who has been pushing for this for a long time. At some point, in fact, it was sounding like a broken record, so to speak. And people were, it would post these things. People would tackle him on Facebook, and they'll be like, who school help? All this kind of talk that people have, right? But in RBF, that is not our thing. We are people who believe in the advancement of society. We are not just spectators who want to actually move things, and that's exactly why we're here. Let me not talk too much. I think I'm gonna stop here. Thanks.
All right, Prof. Thank you so much. So I'll finally wrap up with Mr. Israel. Israel, what were you thinking when you brought up this topic? Israel, just say something before.
Okay, sir, I'm with you. Actually, it's part of part of my experience, like what I've gone through. Like, there was a day I was just thinking, okay, prior to knowing about this method and all these things, I was like, where was this thing? So I was just thinking on that day that okay, even a strategy for things to get done, to get issue get solved without maybe with being cost effective. Yeah, that is, there are some issues that okay, if we just be on our own, and then we just okay, this is how to navigate it, and then it will really really save cost. Actually, my first encounter with something like this was maybe about 2 years ago, while I was facilitating the program for junior achievement in Nigeria. So it was part of those session that was, it was part of those topics that was there that I was like, wow, that I think this thing should be part of our day-to-day activities, not just in businesses, because in this topic it's mostly discussed in, let me say, the corporate world and the business world. So, and I felt that okay, if we can bring it also into our day-to-day activity, it will be interesting getting to know about okay how we analyze problems and then getting it solved without even maybe breaking the course. You know, there are times that for us to get the problem solved, we think that is money. So not every time that all problem requires money. They just finding the roots and then fixing it. Thanks, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Israel. I can imagine it was something that is in need now. Structured thinking, structured thinking. How do we solve problems? So, I don't know. Can I confirm that everyone can hear me because I just switched my device, so I need
I
to
can hear
confirm.
you.
Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. So I'll be introducing Mr. Morebise Ademola. Um, like I said, I've known Mr. Ademola for the past maybe over 10 years or even 15 years. I don't think he remembers. There was a webinar, there was a programming week. We were two persons, and the questions he asked us then, I was still probably 200 level or 300 level. And I had this big idea about, tailoring. And I remember we had Chicken Republic at Akure that I don't think he remembers. We were two persons that showed up. But one of the things he taught me there, he actually made me realize that as much as you think very big of building whatever you want to do, you have to actually work on solving the smallest of the problems and be consistent with it. And I think that really wrapped up this buhaha over my head. And it was just so, it was a miracle that I met him. And I think I believe that did that. It really helped me to, have a sense of this is how you solve problems. This is how things are actually being built, right? And like I said, he's actually the perfect person to be on this call. So just for formality, Mr. Ademola Morebise teaches the ideas that help people develop the creative intelligence to create, nurture, and govern their world. It leads Omnific Works, a creative intelligence company that trains young people, build tools, and consults for the people and organizations shaping the future. He has created platforms such as Giscaster and Omnic Prime 2025. Since 2013, he has trained and mentored young people across Nigeria through boot camps, seminars, mentorship programs, and school partnership, mentoring over 50 programs. And that's true. If you go on his page, is a very big advocate that people should learn how to code. And that's true because there's a way coding makes you think, it makes you solve problems. And yeah, I can attest to this that he has also trained over 500 web designers and reaching thousands through public teachings, radio programs, and community workshops. So I would say, okay, give it up to Mr. Demola. Thank you so much for joining us in this webinar.
Thank you so
I
much
look
for
forward
having us.
to an insightful webinar. All right, you can unmute yourself and also yeah, go ahead, sir.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Awesome. Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be here on the Real Boys Forum. I would like to appreciate and celebrate the leadership of our very own professor. He's been a big inspiration, and I love the things he's doing. I mean, the world is a big place, and maybe we can't fix the whole world with a snap, okay? But of course, whatever we can do in our little corner, goes a long way. And we can see what Prof is doing in his own little corner with the Real Boys Forum. So I want to celebrate and appreciate him for all this sacrifice to make things like this happen. It's a privilege to be here with you guys this beautiful afternoon. to talk about structured thinking, problem solving, and all of that. Prof said I posted so much I became a broken record. So I stopped posting, but last week I was reflecting, I was like, I have stopped posting this PhD. Hope they'll not forget that they need to get their PhD. I need to start posting again. So, I'm gathering energy. I'll start reminding all of you again that, you got to change the world. When they say school is a scam, that argument is preposterous. Is one of the most stupid arguments I've ever heard in my life. I mean, there are many. So we're not saying everybody needs to go to school. We're not even saying everybody needs a PhD. We're not saying that. But we are saying that, at the end of the day, you meet any billionaire, any millionaire, you meet any successful person at all, if they're a believer, they will tell you the grace of God. If they are not so vocal about their Christian faith or whatever they believe in, they will say luck. I'm yet to meet somebody talk about success in life and does not talk about luck or the grace of God or believe or something like that, which means that you can do, in mathematics, 1 plus 1 is always equal to 2. But in real life, 1 plus 1 is not always equal to 2. Like you can literally copy somebody else, blow for blow, play for play, and you end up in different places in life. So we're not saying certificates will make you succeed in life. That's not the argument. What we are saying is this. Our argument is simple. We are saying you dramatically increase your chances. You dramatically increases the odds of you making it in life when you go to school. That there is a refinement, there is an orientation getting an education gives you. When you say school is scam, be specific. Just say you went to a school where you were scammed. That doesn't mean all schools are scams. For example, there are reputable hospitals and there are fake hospitals. There are good doctors, experienced doctors, and there are fake doctors. They are what we call quack doctors. So you went to a clinic and you were scammed. You don't see hospital is a scam. You don't say medicine is a scam. Just say I had a bad experience the last hospital I went to. So look for a good hospital, isn't it? So instead of saying school is a scam, look for a school that is not a scam, settle down and get something in your brain, Anyway, that's talk for another day. Just so excited to be here. Mr. Damilola, our facilitator, the coordinator, is the host now. Of course, I can't forget our meeting now, brother. You're a very funny man. How will I forget our meeting? That was 20. If I'm to guess, I'll say 2019. So 2019, maybe Q1, first quarter of 2019. If I'm to guess. Back then, so I wanted to run a business seminar, business builders hangout, and I wanted to do it in Lagos, JJL. Then the Akure folks said, Mr. Marisha, we not do business hangout in Akure. I said, okay, let's see who. So in the end of Akure, only 2 of them actually paid. So okay, if there are 2 of them, we need to have a hall. And so we did we rented a hall, got speakers, did the big event in Lagos. So I just showed up in Akure for Dami and the other man, Mr. Paul. His name is Paul. So Paul and Dami, we just gathered at Chicken Republic, had a lovely conversation. No, there were 3 of, no, there were 2. No, it was Joseph. The guy was Joseph, not Paul, Joseph. Oh, we did 3. Maybe there were 3. I think it's 3. It was Damilola, Joseph, and JJ, and Paul was also in the meeting that day. We just sat down, Chicken Republic, had a long conversation. It was very impactful, very powerful session, So I remember you very well, Mr. Mr. Dami. Stop that play. Okay, so let me start on the existing protocol, and the time is fast spent. Let me just jump into what we have here. So let's talk about structured thinking and problem solving. And I agree that's a very boring topic. For future people, we can spice it up a little bit, but it's a very, very much needed topic. People fail to realize that you cannot live a better life than the quality of your thinking permits. You cannot live a better life than the quality of your thinking permits. If you think about it, okay, you realize that there's nothing more important than improving the quality of your thinking. And there's actually a term for that. It's called meta-thinking. Thinking about your thinking, meta-thinking. And today's going to be about meta-thinking because we'll think about our thinking. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Okay, fantastic. So the big question is, why do people with similar intelligence, opportunity, and resources end up with completely different outcomes, right? I think I've somehow touched on this. Like, at the end of the day, they will say, luck, life happened, God, grace of God. got lucky and all of that. But there are ways you and I can increase our chances of getting lucky, you know. So we can do the best we can do and leave the rest for forces outside the control of mere mortals like me and you, you know. But at the end of the day, you realize that you personally now, or you know people, and you know that these people, you know they are talented. It's just raw talent. Nigerians have raw talent. If you come to talent, you and I know that in this Nigeria, there is raw talent. Nigerians have the raw talent to do anything we can ever want to do. But we've not been able to get certain things right. And I'm a big believer that if my generation can get it right in this area, we can become unstoppable. And that potential that is so obvious, people have seen that potential all over the world. That potential now can now become a reality. Next slide, please. Next slide. Oh, no, this one is next slide. Yeah, oh, good. Let's talk about thoughts. Okay, so I want to talk about structured thinking. So structured thinking, we talk about, say structured thinking, okay, we must talk about where do thoughts come from. Are thoughts made up of atoms? It was a famous question. They had a physicist. They said, you know, we say basically everything made of atoms. They say yes. They say, okay, so are thoughts made up of atoms? You know, it's an interesting philosophical question where the thoughts come from. You and I know that thoughts are real. In fact, this afternoon, I want to argue that thoughts are things and things need structure. So your thought needs to be structured. That's like, you know, the thing I come here to argue about. Like, thoughts are things need structure, your thoughts need a structure. So, but just because we say thoughts are things, but we know thoughts are not physical. Okay, thoughts are not physical, right? So where do thoughts come from? All right. So there's a lot of, you know, there's a big debate around this, you know. Some say thoughts are energy in the mind. Some say thoughts are this, thoughts are that, and all of that. You know, I think in the world of physics, where I come from, right? I have a background in physics. So we talk about dark matter, for example, dark energy, for example. These are things we can't detect. We can't detect it. We can't measure it. We can't even, you know, but we can observe its impact and influence on the matter you and I can see and interact with, you know. So which means that in a way, things we don't see can affect things we actually see, isn't it? I think if we can agree that thoughts are not physical, then thoughts are spiritual, or at the very least, thoughts are metaphysical, whatever terminology you're more comfortable with. My bottom line is that it will be dishonest for me to talk about structured thinking without acknowledging that your thinking comes from a spiritual place, or at the very least, it comes from a dimension of you that is not physical. And as such, if thoughts come from your soul, thoughts come from your spirit, the state of your soul or spirit is going to determine the quality of your thinking life, period. So therefore, I think I would recommend that you have a sit down with yourself and check the state of your soul, the state of your spirit. I'm not here to shit for any religion, okay, as far as I can tell. I don't think RBF is explicitly Christian or otherwise, right? I mean, you guys can correct me anyway, but my point is that I think you have to sit down and check the state of your soul and spirit. If your soul is sick, if your spirit is sick, if your soul is traumatized, you know, you are sad, brutalized, you are hurt, you have an unhealthy soul, you have an unhealthy spirit. I don't think you can structure any thinking, you know. And I call back to the words of Jesus Christ in the Holy Bible when he said, repent, for the kingdom of God is at hand. Now, you and I will take repent to mean, you know, stop sinning, right? But in the original Greek and the interpretations and all of that, we realize that the word most Bible translators render as repent today is something like metanoia, which means go beyond the mind you have, go beyond your present thought life. Like in a way, repentance in the old sense was about changing the way you think, literally. Literally, okay? The word repent, all right? The word repent was closer to change your thinking pattern, as opposed to stop thinking. And if you think about it, you realize that actually, for me to stop sinning, which is the popular word we take repent to me now, for me to stop thinking, for me to stop sinning, I actually need to change the way I think. I mean, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. It's common sense. My thinking will shape my intentions. My intentions will breed my actions. So thinking becomes my action. So if I think in a certain way, I will have so intentions. Those intentions will become actions that God and man now think is a crime or a sin as it may apply. So for me to stop thinking, I actually need to change. For me to stop sinning, I actually need to change my thinking. Think about it. So bottom line, okay, bottom line, thoughts are not physical, thoughts are spiritual. For my thoughts to be high quality, for my thoughts to be structured, I have to do something about the state of my soul and spirit. So I leave that to your personal agency, to sit with your spirit, sit with your soul, and see how you are getting a grip on that. Because if your soul is unhealthy, if your soul is traumatized, if your soul is sick, you can't structure any thinking. I mean, in my own opinion. So I just wanted to mention that. Let's move to the next slide, please. Okay, so 3 ideas set up the argument for structured thinking. Number 1, thoughts are things. Thoughts have physical consequences. If you think in a certain way, it's going to manifest in your actions. That is simple for anybody to grasp. Number 2, the greatest and most powerful technology in the world is not AI. Okay, the greatest and most powerful technology in the world is the mind, the human mind. That is the most powerful technology in the whole world. All right. If your mind, okay, if your mind is not, if your mind is not optimized, you can't make it in life. Okay. Whether you are a billionaire or an entrepreneur or a criminal, you all have one mind. The difference is not about raw talent or raw intelligence. Okay. The difference now is in, what we're able to make happen with our mind. You understand? So the criminal has a mind, the billionaire has a mind, the engineer has a mind, okay, the inventor has a mind, the scientist has a mind. But how have your mind been trained? Goes a long way. AI is not the most powerful technology we have on this earth. The most powerful technology we have on earth is the mind, the human mind. The third idea here is unstructured intelligence is not optimized. You can be brilliant and still make terrible mistakes because you are not thinking in a way that is structured, disciplined, and principle driven. Many people, they think from emotions. They react to things. They react to things because they are being emotional. So something has happened, bam, they quickly they say they are spontaneous, But me, being spontaneous is just being undisciplined, is operating without structure, is not having principles to guide your thought life, which is a very dangerous place to be. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's talk about. I want to make this a bit practical. I don't know. By show of hands, are you familiar with Green Lanterns? It's a fictional. It's from the world of fiction, comic books, cartoons, movies, things like that. I think there's a TV show coming out later this year. By show of hands, are you familiar with the Green Lantern? So I can know, what I have to work with here. But basically, I think I can explain in a way you can understand it, right? So 2 people can be handed the same exact tool. In this case, a technology that turns your thoughts into things. So the Green Lanterns, they are policemen, but they don't police cities. They police planets in the universe. So they are given a tool to help them do their job. And that technology is a ring which they wear. And that technology now is able to turn their thoughts into a physical construct. So despite the fact that we have a lot of Green Lanterns, but there are 2 popular ones. One is called Al Jordan. The other is John Stewart. Al Jordan is the white man in the picture. Then John Stewart is the black American in the picture in front of you. So even though they have the same tool, their intelligence and everything, but how they operate is totally different. Next slide. Because what separates us is not the tool we are using, it's the mind that is using it. That's why with AI, some people will do 50 times the work they can do. Next slide. With AI, some people can do times 50 of their work. With AI, some can do maybe times 2 or thereabout. I always, in my AI seminars, I always mention that AI is a multiplier. AI is a multiplier. AI is a multiplier. Okay? AI will multiply what you bring. So if you are at 0 times AI is still 0. So I always tell you that if you don't know book, don't use AI. Go and learn. Okay? AI is the replacement for learning. And some people feel AI will take away the need to go to school. I disagree totally. You see, AI is going to increase the need to know things. AI is going to increase the need to have knowledge. If you don't have knowledge, okay, if you don't have knowledge already, AI cannot really help you much. In fact, if you don't know enough to correct the AI, you should not be using AI for that particular thing. Okay, moving on. So, instant process architecture. A lot of Nigerians we are creative, we have all this talent, but we work more on instinct as opposed to architecture. So you just say, "Oh, I would like to build a house." Okay, but in that your thinking is not structured. What goes into building a house? You don't know. But you said, "Oh, I want to make a billion naira for my business in 3 years' time." Okay, at least you even want to put 3 years' time. Don't make a billion naira, you want to make it right now. What goes into making a billion naira right now? Do you know it? So you talk about the instinctive thinker, which I think where a lot of us we fall into. So we react fast. We react to things fast. We move by emotion. Sharp, sharp. We start doing things. We trust our guts over the science. We don't do knowledge. We just believe that with our emotions and our raw willpower, we can make anything happen. So what happens with that is that you can have quick results, powerful results, but it is hollow. It is a shell, an empty shell that can't produce anything. It's part of why our country is in the mess it is in right now, because we don't have disciplined thinkers at the helm. So an entrepreneur posted something today on Facebook. He said, "What are the problems in this country that we need to solve?" And something like that. I know it's actually from a business point of view, but in my mind, I said, there's only one problem in this country is leadership. There's no leadership in this country. Think of the great men that inspire you and ask yourself, what percentage of them are Nigerians? What percentage of them are even Africans? You understand? So we have results, powerful results, fast results, but our results are impressive on the outside, but there's nothing inside. There's nothing behind the load inside. That's what happens when you're thinking and not structure. Because remember, thoughts are things, and things need structure. If a thing doesn't have a structure, what's going to happen? It will fall. Good. So John Stewart, on the other hand, the architectural thinker, is an architect and a military man, so he understands structure. So when he's thinking of a gun, it's not an empty gun. The gun will have bullets and everything needed for the gun to function. But if our journal is thinking of, or you won't think of a gun, think of simpler things like a baseball, like a baseball glove, simpler things. He doesn't do all those detailed constructions. I get to the point. So at the end of the day, the man that has an architectural mind is able to think on a higher level. His thinking is structured. His thinking is better. He's able to do so much. He's able to do so much more than the other guy. Let's move to the next slide. Next slide. I think you press Ctrl L on your keyboard, Mr. Damilola. Press Ctrl L. You should make this one full screen. Then the next should take to the next page. Do Ctrl L on your keyboard. Just making it faster. So thoughts are things. Things require structure so that they can be solid, definitive, and built to last. Okay? So people can have the same mental power, but they will produce totally different outcomes. Because one is thinking architecturally, another one is thinking impulsively. So the thinking you are doing, that you are starting with, your emotional state. There's people that when you ask them questions, how they respond depends on their emotion. And that's why they get you. They just wait. If you can get this man excited, I can ask him for his head. He will give me without thinking twice. If I want to, our guy's in a bad mood. We can't ask him now. He will not answer us. That's not good. Okay? Because the law of the universe do not care about your feelings and emotion. There are laws. I'm a physicist. We study the laws that govern the physical universe. The laws of the universe don't care about your feeling. 1 + 1 is equal to 2. Whether it's raining or sunshine, 1 + 1 is 2. Speed is speed. Velocity is velocity. So, but in your own life, you're thinking, you react to things based on your emotional feeling. That is, is all messed up. Okay? Thoughts are things. Your thoughts are things. Your thoughts are things. Everything that manifests in the real world starts as a thought in the mind of somebody. So if that thought is not structured, it can't survive in a structured world. No matter what, you know that the real world around us is structured. There's a structure to the world around us. In the real world around us, there is structure to this thing. There's a structure to the world around us. So if we don't come with that structure, when we don't come with that structure, what do you think happens? It doesn't work. So that's how many of you, your imagination, you want to be a billionaire, you want to invent it, you want to cure cancer, you want to build a business, you want to build a big business, you want to get a PhD, you want to do all these fantastic things. But in real life, you're not able to do much because your thinking is not structured. And the world around you obeys structure. Things need to be in place. So you have what we call vain imagination. All your imaginations are vain. I always argue that creativity is not imagination because creativity is productive. Imagination might not be necessarily be productive. So you just imagine. I imagine that I build a flying car. Imagination. But unless your mind understands the law of physics that will make a flying car possible, your thoughts can become anything. So thoughts are things. If we can structure our thinking, we can start producing solid things, things that can last. We start producing them in the real world. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, you didn't do the control thing for full screen. Next slide, please. Slide 8. Am I still online? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we hear you. I hear you,
okay.
at least.
Okay, thank you. All right. So most people, they train their bodies, but very few people understand they need to train their mind. There's something I learned from my father in the Lord. He said, if you want to train your body, you went to the field. You went to the field, so you play football, you do sport and all that. Yeah, but you have to realize something. Mind is a tripartite brain. You are a spirit, you have a soul, you reside in a body. So you have to take care of all three parts of you. You understand? So if you are going to gym to train your physical body, how much more your soul, how much more your mind, how much more the parts of you that we can't see, isn't it? So you are training your body, but you are not training your mind. That's the reason for disaster, So structured thinking is a skill. And like every skill, it can be trained. The key is to choose activities that can help us. Are you getting the point? So right now, your thinking is unbounded. Your thinking is limitless. Your thinking is, in a sense, all over the place, So because there is no limit on your thinking, you're not building muscles in your thinking. You're not building structure around your thinking. So I have some recommendations for you. My favorite recommendation is playing a game like chess, for example. Why? A chessboard gives you 8 by 8. It's an 8 by 8 matrix, right? There are 8 spaces, 8 by 8. You have your piece. Each piece has their unique movement and everything. And there are all these sophisticated rules that guide chess. You can't play a chess by instinct. No, there are rules to follow. So when you force yourself to play a game like chess, it makes you a creative thinker. Move to the next slide. Chess. Highly recommended chess, highly recommended. I also recommend Monopoly. And there's the third one I would recommend as well, which is programming, which Mr. Damilola, my host, or is it my anchor now? He mentioned it in his remarks. He said I talk about programming as a tool for thinking. Exactly. Because for me, I was joking with somebody 2 days ago. I said, sometimes I wish my president was a programmer. That's why by the time he writes the source code he wants to run in his government, and the code does not run, it crashes. It will debug. When he finally runs, say, this is running now. It will not come around the country properly. Because one thing about programming teaches you to write a code that will run. So it teaches you to think and refine your thinking until you get something that is working. Right now, you can think of something and that thing will not work, but you don't even know because you just think and you're going to do it like that. Your thinking is not constrained. Move to the next slide, slide 9. I have a table of slide 9 I want to use as I continue. Good. So, like I said, I recommend chess and Monopoly to you. Then programming as well. Programming is a very, very important thing for you to also learn. So chess is good. Chess will teach you second order thinking without you realizing it. I also talk about second order thinking when I get to the models part of my sharing with you this beautiful afternoon. Second order thinking, which simply means what is the implication of what I do? What implication of what I do? So because a lot of you, when you think of something, you don't think of the consequences. For example, you need a situation, you are in a situation, you need some cash. You want to go and borrow money from all these apps. Congratulations, you solved the problem. But congratulations, now you've introduced a new problem. That's second order thinking now. Because if you are talking about, okay, this is a good question. How to learn chess? I'll touch on that. How you can learn chess? Okay, so when you talk about second order thinking, if I take this action, what happens next? If you slap that man, what will happen? For example, now I hope you know that you can slap a soldier. Nothing do you. You can do anything you like. You can walk up and slap a soldier. You go to a soldier checkpoint, you just slap him, pass. You can do that. But what happens next? You know, so I mean, there's a percentage chance that if you slap a soldier, you're not going home from there. They can arrest you. You know, but there's also a chance that the man can say, "Thank you for slapping me. I've been needing a slap for the past 2 weeks, but nobody dared give me a slap. Thank you for giving me a slap. Have a good day." I mean, probability of that happening is not zero. You know, so the idea is that you can do anything you like, but second order thinking. So chess is a game that when you play, it teaches you second order thinking. If I do this, what happens next? So chess teaches you pattern recognition, delay gratification. If I capture this bishop now, will it be worth it, or should I delay and say I can still use this piece for other things? So it trains you to be strategic in your thinking. It trains you to sack it. It's just a very good thing for you to get into. And if someone asked, he said, how do I get into chess? How do I learn chess alone? Well, there's chess.com. Okay, go to the App Store, Play Store, whatever store your device is using, and I'm sure that you can get an app there that can teach you, that you can play online with other players, and you can learn it and all that. In fact, Duolingo has introduced chess, if memory serves correctly. Although I tend to prefer playing chess in real life, you know, but you know, you can use that as well. Then Monopoly is a very important game that I feel more of us needs to play. Monopoly will teach you the mechanics of building and protecting wealth. You know, I think academics needs to, you know, play that Monopoly. So you can start thinking about wealth building, wealth creation, and all of that, you know. Monopoly. Luckily for me, I learned about Monopoly digitally on my PC back then, before I saw it in real life. And I'll tell you for free, please, honestly, I don't recommend playing Monopoly with biro and paper. I strongly recommend you play Monopoly digitally. I prefer playing chess physically, like I said, but Monopoly for me, that has to be online. In fact, I have a Monopoly version on my smartphone that I set up maybe last year or so. You know, Monopoly is a game that helps you to think through life, because this life requires you to have some structure to your thinking, and these two things can help. If you want to learn coding, I run a 3-month online bootcamp called Job Ready Python Academy. Our website is jobreadypython.com. Once again, jobreadypython.com. So jobreadypython.com, you can stop by there. You can join. The next course starts August 6th. You know, Prof said I should mention it on the call today. Thank you, Prof, for the privilege to plug in my business, my side hustle. Okay, back to class. Let's go to the next slide. Next slide. So seriously, just if you want to learn coding, jobreadypython.com. I take the classes personally, and it's a structured class. You will learn a lot, and we'll also guide you to get started. Just go to the page, jobreadypython.com, and you know, you can get started. Okay, so I want to talk about 5 mental models worth installing. There are lots of mental models out there, and I will give you resources. I'll give you resources in a bit and take more questions. So we call them mental models. Mental models just means models you can use to think, right? Thinking. That's what mental models are about. Tools for thinking, that we call mental models. So I'm going to introduce you 5 of them. First principles, second order thinking, system thinking, inversion, and the OODA loop. Okay, so let's just run through quickly. Next slide, please. Okay, first principle thinking. So first principle, most time when we want to, I don't get something today. You're welcome, Mr. Chukwemeka. First principle thinking. So basically, a lot of times there's this, we do things the way it has always been done. We forget to ask a question. Let me give you an example from history. So there was this Russian king, and one day his baby girl went outside playing. She now found a rose growing in one secluded part of the palace grounds, and she now stood with the rose or something. She didn't go home. So the king sent me to go and get her to share his knowledge that she wants to guard the rose over. No children now, all these children do, just a young girl. She didn't even know what she was doing. So the king himself came and said, baby, we are going inside. The guy refused. So the king said, okay, don't worry. I will station a guard to watch over this rose for you. So when he brought the guard, the guard said, okay, we can go now. So the next day, they still sent a guard there. So they kept on sending a guard there. Brothers and sisters on the call, believe you me, centuries after the king died, the princess died, everything scattered. You know, they were still sending a guard to go and watch. Then somebody said, please, so what are we guarding at that spot? What are we guarding in that place and all that? So they now said nobody remembers. So they had to go and check the archives. They now said that about 200 years ago or so happened, you know. So the point is, at what point did the rose die? And people didn't realize that we don't need to guard this rose anymore. I get to the point. At what point, like, nobody asks questions. No first principles thinking. I get to the point. So you must learn to break things down to the basic fundamental building blocks. You get the point? Why do we roof the house? It's like foolish questions, isn't it? Why do we roof the house? Why do we roof the house? Why don't we leave the house unroofed? If you don't roof the house, if someone will beat us, we will beat us. Okay. So do we have to use pan? Can't we use wood? Can't we use concrete to roof the house? You know, you can. It looks like a foolish question, but that's trying to get to the bottom of everything. So obviously, you can't question everything. You have to follow conventions here and there. But it is for someone that wants to be innovative, you want to be an innovator, you want to change the world, you must adopt first principles thinking at one point or the other. Next slide, please. I already touched on that in the bit. Second order thinking. If I do X, what happens next? Then what will happen? Then what will happen? Abi, if I slap this soldier, what can happen next? He can say thank you. He can slap me back. He can carry me to their barracks. The chances of him slapping me back is low. The chances of him taking to the barracks is high. He can arrest me. Okay, don't let me slap him. Second order thinking. Like, if you borrow money today, you've solved today's problem. Congratulations. But there's a second order consequence. You've introduced debt. Debt can be stressful. Okay? So smart thinkers will think about their second move, their third move, not just the first move. Okay, sometimes I ask young people, I say, you are in school. After this degree, what next? You know, you are a serving corps member. After a while, you say, what next? So it will shock you the amount of people that don't have answers to those basic questions. You know, they don't. You ask a serving corps member after NYC, what next? And he has no clue. He has no clue. You know, he has not sat down. He has not spent 5 minutes thinking about his future. You are trying to get a degree, a BSc or BTech, and whatever it is you want to get. When you are done, what's your next plan? They are not thinking about it. You know, it's not. That's not a way to live life. Second order thinking is very important. It helps you to put things in place. Next slide, please. Systems thinking. Understand that you're not fighting the problem. You are fighting the symptom of the problem. I'll say that again. A lot of times, what you are facing is not the real problem. What you are facing is the symptom of the problem. Okay? For example, somebody has malaria. Malaria can manifest with fever, for example. Getting rid of the fever by taking a cold shower does not kill the malaria parasite. Or they call it. I think malaria parasite they call it. Doesn't kill the malaria parasite. It's still there until you take something that will kill the malaria. Systems thinking. So you're not fighting a problem, you're fighting a system. The system can break if you can interrupt the loop, not just using the symptom in front of you. So the problem of Nigeria is deep-seated. It's a complex system. So you can't solve these systemic issues by just, you know, putting a plaster over some wounds here and there. We need systemic solutions for the systemic problems in this country. So unless we have people that can think for first principles, people that can do second order thinking, people that can embrace system thinking, we're not ready in this country. That's the truth. Next slide, please. The next one is inversion, I believe. Inversion just says, ask the opposite question. Sometimes you can't answer a question directly. So to make it easy for you to think about it, you know, flip it to the other side. So, for example, instead of thinking, how do I succeed? Think of, how do people fail? Then if you avoid their failure, then I just see the point. Like, I tell teenagers, I say, if you don't know what you want to become in future, it's not a problem. But you can start thinking of what you don't want to become. For example, you don't know what you want to become, whether an engineer, a scientist, lawyer, doctor, you're not sure what you want to become. But can we agree that you don't want to become a criminal, for example? Can we agree that you don't want to become a tout or a hooligan, for example? You know, so if we can agree on what you don't want to become, you don't want to become a negative role model in the society. So what are the hallmarks of a negative role model? So avoid those things. So for example, maybe you shouldn't drink, maybe you shouldn't smoke, okay? Maybe you shouldn't dress like in a certain way. Maybe you should dress in what we'll call a conservative way now, all right? Since that is, you know, that's the idea. So inversion. If I can't answer the question, can I answer the opposite of the question? Mathematics, you use that shortcut all the time when they move things around and say they are collecting like terms and all of that. Okay, next slide. The prof is laughing. Prof, I catch you now, all those mathematics people. I don't want to get into maths or physics today, you know, maybe another time. Okay, the OODA loop. OODA loop, this is very instructive as well. So this is a very useful mental model for you. Observe, orient, decide, and act. It's a very useful loop. Most people stop after they observe. They don't take any other action. So from today, after you observe, then look for the content. That's orientation. This thing I've just observed, what is the context? What is the what is the orientation of this thing? You have to orient something, you know. When people talk about Einstein versus Newton, they will say Newton with general relativity and all of that. But till today, most of the calculations they do in space, they still use Newtonian physics to do it, not Einstein. Why? Because in a sense, the Earth is the center of the universe. In a sense, you are the center of the universe. No, but the universe evolves around you. I'm telling you, as far as Ademola Morebise is concerned, the universe evolves around Ademola Morebise. That's the truth of the matter. So orientation, that's orientation now. There can be you must have a reference point in anything you want to do in this life. So after I've observed this, now what is my reference point? Where will I stand as a base to tackle an issue? You are forced to pick a reference point. From there, you can now make a quality decision. From there, you can now act. Are you getting the point? You have to tell yourself that, you go through stuff in life and you tell yourself, okay, so you've observed something. What's the orientation? I can't think like the other party. For example, maybe I want to do a business deal. I want to do a business deal for my company now. I have to protect the interest of my company. I was talking to one of my managers maybe 3 days ago. We were trying to get a bus. Wanted to rent a bus. This be filmed under my word. Don't worry, I'll give you some resources. Just hang on to the end. Yeah, the slide can be shared. I have no issues with it. You can share the slide. It's fine. What I have in mind actually is that after I worked on this thing, I started to write an ebook from this. So I'll just give me a week. Maybe in 1 week time I can share this as an ebook. So don't worry about the slide. Let me share the ebook instead. I'm making this into an ebook. I'll touch it some more this week. By let's say Friday, Saturday, I'll be up with the permission of Prof and Mr. and the team. I'm going to give you a ebook on what I'm sharing. So, but let's keep going. Okay. So, like I was saying, so something happened 3 days ago or so. I was talking to someone in my company. I wanted to hire a bus, and she was making excuses for the bus driver that the bus will buy. Morning, madam, you are working for us, yeah. This is our company. Whatever for the bus driver, that's the bus driver's cup of tea. Or your orientation should be Omnific Youth, not driver company. So that's the idea. When something comes, what is the right orientation? What's the right way to think about this? You understand? That's the idea behind it. Then you can now have a more coherent decision, and you can now act from that point of view. Okay, next slide. I think we're getting to the end of the conversation. Next slide, please. Good. So recommended resources. So there's this awesome book put together by a brilliant man called Shane Paris. He runs a popular blog called Farnham Street Blog. And then, so he put together the great mental models. He's in a set of 4. Anybody that wants to give me birthday gift should give me these 4 books. I'll appreciate it, It's a very powerful book. I have the soft copy anyway. I bought the soft copies. But the hard copy, is also a good option. Just Google it. It's a highly recommend. If you want to train your brain, want to structure your thinking, I think if you can read those 4 books, you'll be there. It covers all the mental models he could lay his hands on, from the worlds of physics, chemistry, down to economics, down to the political space, economics. All the major mental models are covered in that particular resource. So it's highly recommended. The great mental models there are 4 books in the series by Shane Parrish. So you can just Google it to get the link you can get it on Amazon and all these popular places. There's physical. I bought the soft copies, Okay, so then so in the sidebar, I said keep training. So I think the easiest thing anybody on this call can do, I think anybody on this call, you can go to the Play Store, look for chess. Duolingo now has chess. Go to Duolingo or confirm Duolingo chess, just chess.com, search for Monopoly, download these games, play, train your mind. Okay. Start writing a journal. Then take note of these 5 models. For sake of time, just pick these 5 models. There are many other mental models out there. But I think the key point is just that thoughts are things. Things need structure. If a thing doesn't have structure, it can't stand. So that's why your things are not standing. So go to the next slide. That should be the final slide. Oh, this is the final slide. Okay, you get a thank you slide. So I think with that, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having us. Let's take your questions. I think there'll be questions and interactions, then we can. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Thank you so much. That was really cool. I don't know if
anyone shared my sentiment, please just let the emojis go, please. I love this. In fact, I think I will take my time out to go and watch the YouTube myself because this was so solid, succinct, and very, very compact. I was so much, I was just over the moon. Thank you so much, Mr. Ademola. I know there are a lot of questions
Hey,
that people.
prof, don't call me prof. Oh yeah, now. I'm not a prof. Oh.
You don't collect.
By order of Prof Dansu, I'm not a prof.
So yes,
That's lovely. Thank you so much, everyone. I know that we have questions. Let me see if there are questions on the chat that we can. All right. So I think most of the questions were centered on church, like what Mr. Professor Ademola mentioned. The apps are always online for you to download. Can I confirm that we can hear me, please? Okay. Okay. Lovely. All right. Lovely.
yes.
Lovely. All right. Lovely. Wow. Lovely. There was so many things that in fact, I'm surprised that I'm just learning new things now on this mental model. Like it hit me that I've not even come across sometimes that we're used to it. But it's lovely that we have this webinar so that I need to go back and go and buy new books and say, oh, I need to really find ways to structure my thoughts. I don't know. Are there questions that if you want to unmute yourself and also ask direct questions? Well, that is the floor is yours. We still have like about an hour to go. Okay, Timothy, Mr. Mekule Chukwebuka. All right. Well, okay. I think Timothy, you can just go ahead, please.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Maoga, for this session. Honestly speaking, I've not really paid attention. I've always known that there were models that could make your mind as brilliant as what you're trying to do, but I have not like really researched on it. So to join this session, I hear these things. Oh man, my goals are solid. I have a question regarding to two things. One is personally, I've discovered that I want to read books that are mental that improves one's mental faculty and psychological way of thinking. But I find myself that I struggle to stay on those type of book for long. In fact, if I get to chapter 2 or maybe let's say page 30, I just give up. Like I just find myself not drawn to going back to it. But when I read technical books, like books about technical things, maybe quantum computing, machine learning, data science, someone writing something new about an update, I can be on that book till like for the end of the like the whole day, and I'm not exhausted. How do you fix that? Because if I venture back to pushing myself to read back these books that are more on this mental thing, I just want to solve that problem because I'm struggling to read books that are more of something like this, and I find it easy to read technical books. So what could be the problem? How do I fix that? Yeah, that's my two questions.
Do I answer it now or later?
Yes, sir. You can answer. You can go ahead, sir.
Huh? You said hello?
Yes, you can. You can answer it.
Yeah. So basically now, when you talk about for me, I would say you are in your comfort zone. So when you're in your comfort zone, things happen to you. Is it naturally? I would say normally. So this other thing, structure your mind, all those things. You said you can't, you're not able to read them and all that and all that. I think that when it comes to reading comprehension, reading speed, the speed at which you read the material depends on your familiarity with the material and familiarity with material basically. So what you want to do, what I can recommend is this. Now that you've asked some mental models actually named, okay, you can go to a platform like YouTube, for example, type in second order thinking, type in first principles, all these things. There'll be videos, short skits you can watch to build a kind of base knowledge. So when you go back to read those books, you can I think you can fare better. And obviously, you can get an accountability partner, someone that is also interested in things like that. And then you can discuss those things with them. So maybe they could also be interested in learning, for example. So you're reading the same book, you read chapter one, so you gather to discuss the chapter one you read. I think that can help you to um to break that jinx, if I may use the word jinx. So I think the reason why you're reading your technical book and you're enjoying it, because maybe that's what you are more used to. You've built over time. I mean, of which I'm willing to bet that was not always like that, especially in the early days. Back early days, maybe forgotten about the early days now. You might have struggled with material at some point or the other. Your fluency in those books came over time because now you are very familiar with the concept, so you can easily, pick it up. That sometimes you pick up a book and it could have well have been written in Greek, because even though it's English, you can't even understand half of the terms staring back at you. It takes a level of comprehension to read certain things. So I think that's how best I can tackle your question. I don't know. Is that helpful? Has that answered your question?
Yes. It does. It
Awesome.
does. Thank
Awesome.
you.
There's some questions in the chat, sir. Are we going to answer that?
Can anyone hear me? All right. So, thank you very much. I don't know if there are other questions that anyone wants to ask about this.
There are questions in the
fantastic- I
chat.
think Okay. All right. I think Timothy is still. All right. I'm seeing the questions in the chat, but I think Timothy still wants to say something. Do you still have something to say, Timothy?
Oh, no. Sorry.
All right. Lovely. Okay. Let's take some few more questions. Olamile Kombabis, how do habits form in the mind? How can we change that? I don't know if you can provide more context to what you're saying, but what you mean by the question, how do habits form in the mind, and how can we change that?
I think what I can chip what I can chip in is this: if you're trying to form habit or change habit, so the science says that it takes about 21 days for us to form a new habit or break an existing habit. So if there's a habit in your life right now that you don't like, you want to get it out. What is the replacement habit? So I think number one, trigger. What triggers that habit? Then number two, what replaces the habit? So if you get that trigger down to trigger towards the habit you don't want, then go for the replacement. If you can survive 21 days, after that, you won't need to fight yourself so much. You just need enough willpower and strength to get through 21 days. That's how habits form, basically. Habits form when we do things over and over again. To form new habits, bring in your willpower. Like I was saying to the first question, we talked about how he enjoys reading certain books, but he can't read certain books. So the book is enjoying. It's not like it's easier than the one he doesn't enjoy. The difference is just that his mind is more, because basically, I mean, Newton's first law, right? It says we remain in a state of in rest until something acts on us. We keep going until something acts on us. So at this rate, there are things that you are used to. There are things that come to you naturally. Unless something else acts on you, you can't change course. So if you want to change your habit as an adult, you will need to force yourself to do something 21 days. If you can survive 21 days, it becomes easy after that. The first 21 days will be hard. It will be tough. You will have to go to war, as it were. But if you can hold on for 21 days, you are free. That's my best. So if the person can give us more context, that would be helpful. But that's how I can respond right now.
Oh, that's lovely. You see that I think that prescription is something that I would also love to adopt. There are habits I would want to work on in my own personal life, and I really appreciate that. There is a model and it's been tried. I hope that definitely it would work. 21 days. So if anyone wants to break any habit that you don't like, I'm sure that we can both try this. Are there other questions? Feel free to ask. My people are funny enough. There are a lot of persons that are not on this webinar, and they are buzzing me on WhatsApp. I'm like, oh, they're loving my chat. I mean, saying what? I still believe that this this webinar should be registered. We need to have this session again. This is a really mental body connection. This
Okay.
MFM, whatever FM that is. So this is the MFM session, but it's more like a mental body transfer. All right. If you have any other questions, okay, that's lovely. Abiodun Jami still asks, so what's the strength of being disciplined? and having principle. I think if I need to get more context to what Ahmed is trying to ask, he's saying that, or if you can give us more context, are there things, I think I guess what he's trying to ask is that, are there areas whereby you apply discipline to, and also where you apply the strength of principle? Or if you can add more context, give us use cases so that.
Yeah. I think we need. I think we need more context. But if I'm to speak to that, the strength of being disciplined and having principles, I think a disciplined person will get a lot of things done. A lot of, I think one of the big scams in this country, people think only in terms of naira and kobo, which is a waste of human potential. Money is not a problem. If it is money, it is not a problem. If it's a problem, money cannot solve it. I'll say that again. If it is a problem, money cannot solve it. If it's about money, there is not a problem. Think about it, guys. You realize that money doesn't solve any problem. Money doesn't solve any problem at all. What money does for you is two things. Money will buy the time of somebody that has the knowledge to solve your problem. Then money can buy products that somebody that has knowledge has created to solve the problem. So money itself is not solving any problem. Money is used to get the attention of human beings that have the knowledge to solve your problem. Money is used to buy products that have been created from those that have sense to solve your problem. So realize that it is knowledge that solves problem, not money. So when you are a disciplined thinker, you will be resourceful. Because, like I said, we're talking about the topic of the webinar, and I said I agree that the topic is a bit boring. You could spice it up, because like I was saying, your mind is the most powerful, most sophisticated technology on planet Earth is the human mind. What a mind can do, an AI cannot attempt. I'm telling you, what a mind. If an AI can do it, it's not. Forget it. I'm telling you. So when you talk about this, when you are disciplined, if you're going to succeed as an entrepreneur, understand something. Look, there's nobody on God's earth that has all the resources they need to do what they want to do. At our level, you are thinking, if I can just get 200K, so I can get also for my office, I can get 1 million, I want to go for a certification, I can get, that's the same way Dangote is also thinking. I can just raise 20 billion. That'll be the refinery in Kenya. I'm telling you. So the key, if you want to succeed as an entrepreneur, a professional in life, you need to be resourceful. And resourcefulness comes from the discipline of thinking. I don't know if you are getting my point, because it's not a live class, so I can see your faces, I can see your face. But if you are getting it, that resourcefulness, when you are disciplined in your thinking, and you have principles. I thought about principles that, I thought, for example, now, people already know that you are an emotional person. Once you are angry, they won't ask you certain things. When you are happy, they'll come and be asking you foolish questions. They know you give some concession you shouldn't give. But when they know you are a principled person, whether you are happy or sad, it makes no difference. In fact, you have a principle that says, I don't make serious decisions when I'm angry. I don't make decisions when I'm happy. If I'm happy, I'm not making any decision. If I'm sad, I'm making a decision. Anything, I'll say, I will do it later. You write it down, send it on WhatsApp. So when my mind calms down, when I'm at a neutral level, I will answer. So, there is a lot of strength and advantages to being principled and having discipline in your thinking. Are there negatives? Well, I have a disadvantage, but I think the strength and the positive of being a disciplined, structured thinker definitely outweighs any downside you might see to it. So there's that.
Right. Lovely. And I think one of the things that I am really blessed about webinar is to be, I think this webinar made me more reflective because I realized that, there's a way that we have become naturally the way we think, and it's not a very good place to do things because, one of the things that Mr. Ademola just mentioned, about being emotional, people that are, you find yourself in that place, and it shows in the way we think. Sure that definitely we can work on that. Abiodun Jamio has something to ask. All right, you can just unmute and let me hear so that we can get your questions answered. Abiodun Jamio, you can go ahead with your question. All right. So if you can't, can everyone hear me? Let me confirm if I'm audible or
Yes, I
not.
can hear you. I also have a
So
question
Can
whenever
you hear
you.
me now, sir? I'll answer the question.
All
Abiodun Jam, you can hear you.
Okay,
right.
thank you. I've been talking. I don't know you can't. I was the one who asked that question earlier. Well, thank you for your response. I think I've grabbed the advantages for being disciplined and being principled. Now, my question is, how can we cultivate the habit of being disciplined and being, you know, principled? That's the actual question. Like that habit of being disciplined and being principled. Like, what's the strength? You know, if you have to cultivate something, just like you said earlier, you must be able to reference something, like you are looking at something, okay, so that should now maybe help that particular behavior, maybe to say you will be disciplined or be principled. I don't know, maybe you get what I'm trying to say. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, we can hear you. So I think I get your question. So, I don't know if Mr. Ademola heard you correctly.
I heard you, but can you help me maybe phrase the question?
All
Now,
right. So
why I mean, okay, you want to help me
go
out?
ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, Jordan. Go ahead with your
Okay,
question.
what I mean is that you have explained the advantages, benefits of being disciplined and being principled from everything you've said. So, and thank you for that. So, but you know, to be disciplined is a whole lot, and I know what it takes. And also being principled, so for someone who is maybe who does not really take things serious, so like that, how can you cultivate the habit of being disciplined and being principled?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand. So if you say being disciplined, being principled, I think when you talk about that's why I started by talking about the state of the soul and spirit, isn't it? I said I don't go all spiritual on the call. I don't talk to a religious debate and all of that, but we can agree that thoughts are things, but we can't see thoughts. So thoughts should be at the very least metaphysical. But more to the point, in my opinion, thoughts are spiritual. So thoughts come from the spirit, from your spirit. So the health of your spirit determines all of these things. Discipline means to do what needs to be done, regardless of how I feel about it. So discipline will confront your emotions and feelings. You get the point. So at the end of the day, when we talk about discipline, I want to do what I need to do because of how I feel about it. So how do I build discipline? That's the question you are inadvertently asking. I think the best answer I can give you is just um, look for a system, look for a system, look for a system, look for a place, look for a training, look for something that demands discipline from you. I don't know your age, academic background, where you are in life, and all of that. A good place of discipline is school, and that's one of the arguments I make for schooling. When people tell me school is okay, so let me take it one by one. I think I'm jumping. My number one tip is that check your soul and spirit. That's my first tip, by the way. My second tip is find a system, find a structure, find a training. School is a great place of training and structure. You see, when I was in school back then, I was maybe 300 level. I remember a friend of mine, she was putting together a book club. I showed me to be a member. Thought I didn't have time, thought how busy I was and everything. And she said something that has stuck with me over the years, over the decades, as it were. She said, Demola, do you realize that like you are not busy right now? Like you are least busy. Like this is the least busy you can ever be because anything after that, you get more and more busy. And I was like, you actually have a point, and just stop with me, like so. No matter how busy you are, you still have to go back and do your MSc. I mean, when you're doing for most of us, for some of us, we had the privilege of having parents that sponsored our first degree, right? So basically, all you had to do was just read and go to school, and you still didn't have a first class. We had two third class, that kind of thing. Now you want to do your MSc, and now you have to pay out of pocket, like so you have to go and work for money and still magically find time to attend MSc lectures, still find time to attend lectures, do your research, write your thesis, your dissertation, defend your project. I get to the point. So that training system of a school teaches you discipline. So I'm giving you 2 points. So my first point is check your soul and spirit. If your soul is healthy, your spirit is healthy, discipline should come more naturally to you. Second point of attack, look for a training, look for a system that can force you to be disciplined. That's why we like to discipline children, because that's when you can mold them and to be least painful. They say you can't teach a old dog new tricks because the dog is set in his ways. So you can get a train. So for me, the easiest training I can recommend is go to school. Okay, go and get an MSc, go and get a PhD. And a PhD will teach you discipline by fire by force. So for me, these are things you can do to integrate discipline and all of that. So I think that is a kind of recommendation I can give you that is practical, something you can actually go and do. So like I said, look, like job ready Python training we do now, it forces a lot of people want to learn Python, or they've learned already. They've YouTube is free. I mean, I was telling someone called, we were talking to someone 2 days ago. Someone was like, YouTube is free. I said, yes, YouTube is free. But the difference is that if you go and learn Python on YouTube, for example, you watch the video. Is the person going to follow up with you on assignments? No. But if you attend a structured program like our, what happens now is that we have live classes. You need to show up. Although we record the classes anyway. But then there are deadlines, there are assignments, you know what to do next. So those things forces you. And like I said, the psychology training is that 21 days to form an habit, 90 days to do a lifestyle. Like if you can do something for 90 days, you might need deliverance to stop doing that thing because it becomes part and parcel of you. So if I can do something for 21 days, it becomes a habit for me. If I can persist for 90 days, it's now a lifestyle. It's now a lifestyle. So if you want to learn coding, try to practice coding 1 hour every day for 90 days. That will require discipline. It will require commitment. It will take a lot from you. But by day 91, in fact, your you've adjusted. Your spirit has adjusted. Your body has adjusted. You're ready to do it. So I think that if you can get into a training, a system that can train you, everybody is ordinary until a training comes upon them. Like I said, Newton's first law of motion, right? If you are stationary, you continue stationary until something acts on you. If you are moving, you keep moving as well, something acts on you. So you need something to act on you so you can become that disciplined person you want to become. So get into a training, go to school. If you're not go and do a degree in school, do first degree, or go for an MSc, or take a job ready Python training. Get into a training. The training with deadline, good training will have deadline and expectation. So those expectations, like my.
Can anyone hear me? Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Ademola.
And all that, papers and all that. So it's all comes down to discipline. You have to build discipline. All right, thanks. Sorry, I'm taking so much time.
No problem, that's fine. So we have one more question to take. I think Mr.
Okay.
Alafta Anthony wants to ask.
Okay, yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Mr. Morebise, for that wonderful teaching. However, at some point I had to go off the call. So I don't know if what I'm about to ask has been talked about. So I'm sorry but I just needed to get this before I get off the call. So we're talking about structured thinking, and I'm thinking in my head to say, in a world where a lot is going on in your mind, and if you're not careful, especially for people who do a lot of things at the same time, what do you think is an hack that can help you to navigate all of this? Because I like when you started, you said something about how is either you are doing impulse thinking, or you are thinking like an architect or something where you have a structured thinking. But as you are trying to structure it, there is a lot that is trying to bombard what you are trying to structure. So you are thinking in the line of, okay, now I want to focus on this. But as you are doing that, you are remembering other things. How do you navigate? How do you solve that problem or challenge, so to speak?
Yeah, so I think I need to clarify something. So I apologize if I made any of this sound easy. It won't be easy for a lot of us. Let's agree on that. So I alluded to the fact that it's like going to a gym to go and build muscles. Okay. So I said train the mind. So we talk about training. Training will always be very painful, a lot of pain, very little visible progress initially. The fruits of your training compounds and it shows up over time. So yes, my brother, I agree with you. You start this thing, it's painful. You want to be principled. When they brought matter, you say, no, I can't answer now. Oh. They say I should answer when I'm angry. Let me cool that so I can use principles. But if I didn't answer, but you remember principles. So that is going to happen, and that's okay. That's very okay. That's very okay. All right. You don't become. It's not happen in a day. It's like going to gym to go and build muscles. You have to be consistent. So this is what we need to do. We need to agree that structured thinking is better than unstructured thinking. We need to admire the fruit of discipline. Admire the fruit of discipline. When guys say they are building six pack, so you admire the six pack. So the thought of six pack will get you through the pain of getting the six pack. You get the idea. Like, so the idea is that fall in love with the fruits. Okay, fall in love with the fruits of what you want to achieve. Then go through the pain. So what will happen is that you start today is very painful. Okay, but just tell yourself, if I can go through the first 21 days, it gets easier, isn't it? So for the next 21 days, I'm being intentional about it. I'm being mindful about it. Okay, that I want to become more disciplined in my thinking. So I pick something. I've shared a lot. I pick anyone that is close to you. Okay, I think I've heard of when I was in primary five. I saw chessboard. Let me start with chess. Fantastic. So after this call, get online and look for a chess app to download. Nowadays, you can the app will teach you chess. They can connect you with online players so you can play in real time with somebody anywhere in the world. So which is really, really good. Okay. So okay, let me play chess for the next 21 days. Okay, let me just pick one simple thing you can start with that we shared today. That's the secret. Pick chess or pick Monopoly or join the coding class I spoke about. Just pick one, start with that one. Then as you are doing that, over time, as you get more comfortable and stronger, you can now add other things to that thing that you want to do. I think one other thing I didn't mention, looking back now, is I didn't talk about reading. Maybe I assumed you would read, but thinking about it now, because I used to talk to people about thinking and worrying, right? Thinking and worrying. So I say a lot of people we worry a lot because we don't think. And you can't think if you don't read. If you don't read, there is nothing to think about. I'll take that again. If you are not reading, there is nothing for you to think about. You get the point. So you do more of worry. So, so a tip for you, if you're thinking of how you can get into structured thinking, read, and read. So when you read, what you read enters your subconscious mind. So when it's time to take decisions or act in a certain way, you're reading, you're learning, your new behaviors will need to manifest small, small. But like I said, give yourself grace. Your mileage will vary. I can't tell you live between 21 days or 2 weeks or 1 week or 1 year. No, depending on where you are right now. Okay. But the good news is that we know we have the guarantee that no matter where you start today, if you keep at it and you are consistent with it, we know that you're going to get to the final bus stop. Thank you so much.
All right, let's give it up for Mr. Ademola. This was so impactful. Let the emojis come in. Let the emojis come in. To be sincere, I think it's really valuable for my time, honestly. I've learned so much. You mentioned something about pension. I think someone was asking a question how to get this. And to be fair, it's how with the soul. For me, often time when I need to get my head straight, I don't scroll in fact. I just keep my mouth shut. I think it has a way of keeping my head straight. I don't take food, I don't take water. And this is not to say it sounds spiritual, but very the fact is actually very strong. You must go straight for our mental out. If I need to have a very structured or think straight, how do I put this in straight line of thought, stage to another? I just will just keep your mouth, keep put it with focus for now. I'm just saying what I do. So it's gonna take my word for it. But like Ademola said, we know so that we can. Okay. Can you guys hear me again? Okay, Mr. Damilola said he can't hear me very well. Can you hear me very well now? Is it better now? Can you confirm that you can hear me? Oh,
Yes, it's better now.
Yes,
all
we
right.
can.
So sorry. So what I was saying was this. I was like treating the fact that Mr. Ademola was giving an instance of there was a question and he was saying he mentioned that we should start with doing a soul search and also checking our spirit because like I mentioned I was like treating the fact that there is a very strong connection between soul searching, soul searching and also your spirit and with the mind and your mental output. And so to speak, that I've tried this many times, that if I need to do something, focus, serious focus. The best thing you want to do is you need to also, uh, first off, keep your mouth shut. And the best way I do that is to go on a fast. I don't take any. And also, another intentional thing is also to declutter digitally. You know, I was watching a video. I think it was the CEO, that's Sam Holtzman, and he was talking about how he get things done. He said one of the things he does a lot of note taking. Like if you get to his room, you see a lot of you know writings of paper stuck on those walls and all that. It helps you to declutter the mind. And I know most of us have that question of, okay, I'm doing a lot of things, but sometimes I can't think straight. And I believe that most great builders, most guys that build things, that wants to get things done, they actually go on this digital fast. They keep their phone far away. I was watching a YouTube and a lady was saying something. She said that he said even the thought of having a track record of where your phone is also a distraction. It's not just keeping the phone. You need to declutter your environment such a way whereby you can actually think straight. And this is actually one way to solve any problem, so that it also helps you to structure your thinking. What does your environment look like? Is it decluttered? Is your laptop always on the deck? Do you have times whereby you don't do anything, just sit there with a paper and just keep writing your line of thought? And with the advent of AI, it's a two-way thing. We are having a serious issue with people having original thoughts. And when that is done, it's very hard for you to create something very original. So I'm just adding to what our mentor had spoken about. But like I said, you would need to learn how to declutter digitally so that our line of thought is structured. I know Prof has a lot to say too, and like I said, there's a serious depravity in our time whereby it's so hard that we to do deep work. I was reading a book on, I think it was this man who wrote the book called Deep Work, and the things that he was iterating was the fact that uh, people right now, because of the street of social media, what is happening on Instagram, what is happening on Facebook, it gets the mind so busy that we cannot do things or get things done. And he highlighted so many things. And like I said, I'd seen it in many great people that get things done. CEO of even the man who actually created AI, I would say generative AI that every person are using would say that, okay, note taking, writing, black and white, and having details how to actually help you think properly. I don't know. It's the floor. I think I don't know if we have still the question. We have Prof here. Prof is here, so let me just give Prof. Also, I know Prof has a lot to share with us on how he has. I think one of the things I would love to hear is use cases and what has worked for Prof. If anyone who also has tried some few other things, so that we can before we wrap up.
Well, if you ask me, I think enough has been said. Learning continues. I think I don't want to. I mean, every line, every line by Mr. Ademola has been like banger back to back. So let's just go and I found myself typing quotable quotes on the WhatsApp group. So in case you have not seen that, you're going to see that. So I think let's just think about this. That's all that will suffice for now. Of course, we have more time to maybe along the line. We can, if you like any of the mental models, feel free to just maybe do something on it and share in the group. So with AI these days, it's easier to summarize those books, summarize those ideas, and share with the rest of us so that it can deepen the conversation. So yeah, I mean, I resonate a lot with some of these things. So most of the times, there's this idea of analysis paralysis, right? But if you have analysis paralysis, I think I would rather have you have analysis paralysis than to just jump into things like we're told initially, right? You just jump into something without thinking about it. Of course, you also know that once you have thought to a point, you should just start executing. We saw that with the OODA loop. That you just observe something and then you just freeze and you don't get to do you don't get to act on it. So yeah, enough has been said, and the video will be made available on my YouTube channel. The quotes, I already have an idea of what I'm going to do with it very soon, and I'll share in the group also. And then of course the ebook is coming, so we are in a good place. So just so I see a lot of people talking about discipline principles and everything. Yes, and some books came to mind, books like Outlier by Malcolm Gladwell, if I got that right. And there's also this Atomic Habits by James Clear, I think. So those are some books that can really help with some of these things. Deep work, I mean, moderator mentioned deep work too. It's more like if you see most of these great people, most of the people that do great things, they have times where they just throw away all distractions and just set themselves apart. I mean, we see that a lot in Christianity, right? Like, of course, and if you're a Bible person, the Bible is a serious guy. One interesting thing about Mr. Ademola is that he has a daily devotional, and he takes a devotional from a Christian angle. If you're not following him, please start already. I see what he writes on my WhatsApp status every day. So he does a devotional from a businessman angle of things. So those are the kind of things we should be thinking about, because most times people think that if you're a spiritual person, then you'll be a wacky person when it comes to business or academics or something like that. Now, one thing I'm passionate about these days is the idea of what is apologetics, right? Like being able to prove the Bible scientifically, because that's necessary when you're dealing with people operating that. Some of us have to be professors because so that we can also preach the gospel. And if you think that only dull people are Christians, then you see people like Professor John Lennox of Oxford University, who was a foremost mathematician and also a Christian, solid one at that. So we want to be able to marry all these things together, and you have to be most times we are lazy too. Christianity, we are very lazy, for the Christians. We are very lazy. People ask us difficult questions. I'll be like, are you doubting God? No, they want proof. They want evidence. Show them. And there's a way you can present these things structurally. So for people who are leaning towards that side, you want to listen a lot to Professor John Lennox. You want to listen to, I think, Wes Hoff I think his name is Wes Hoff. Those are like some top 2 Christian apologists in recent times. So all these things can definitely come together. You saw me one time writing a book on a mathematical journey through the Bible. So that takes a lot of structural thinking to bring mathematics out of scripture, to explain a Bible text in mathematical terms. And that's why mathematics, in fact, everybody should, even if you don't like maths, mathematical thinking is also one way, right? I went through the books recommended, and I saw one of it is, I think some of them are focusing on the idea of mathematical thinking. So mathematical thinking is not the YDX, it is being able to think structurally. So that's also one thing you want to Google, like just Google mathematical thinking. What does it look like? In mathematical thinking, I'm not solving anything, I just being able to outline things structurally. Now, I always have the temptation of talking too much, and I think I want to stop at this point. If we don't have any other thing, we can take it home, right? Is that okay?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
Okay, so thank you. Yes. Do you still have something else to say?
Yeah, I think Oluwatobi is okay. I thought you wanted to say something.
Your voice is sounding distant, though.
All right, can everyone hear me now? Is it better now?
Yeah, it's good now. It's good.
All right. Thank you so much for everyone who joined the webinar today. To be sincere, this was so much value for my own personal. I mean, my time, I was so much blessed. I wrote a lot. In fact, I would make sure that definitely, if you are not on the RBF forum, feel free to join us. It's on check the group chat, you would see that the link has been posted by Prof. And also the ebook that was used for the presentation will be made available so that we can have access to, the webinar today, and also we have a YouTube channel to revisit this webinar. Thank you so much, Timothy. Thank you so much, Mr. Anthony. Olamilekon, Mr. Oluwatobi, Peace Adaoma. Thank you so much. Success Nwanchuku, Mahogbe Bankole. Mr. Ademola is still on the call. Thank you, everyone. We want to say a big thank you to our host. In fact, today was really awesome. All right. I think this is where we draw the curtain. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, I just shared a link to past virtual meetups. You want to click on that. This is like the 26th edition. So you have everything there. Like we've talked about several things. In fact, the last time we talked about health, and that is totally, my wife had to buy a scale, and, you know, we connected it into an app. And now I'm more mindful about what I eat, when I eat, how I eat, and things like that. So those are the kind of things you have learned in this place. So you want to take advantage of all of these things. So I'm going to upload this video as soon as possible. And you'll see it through the same channel. And you also want to, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can get alerted when I upload the, videos. And of course, if you're into maths, data science, and things like that, we also contribute a quota. So we are the people who we teach Python and all of these things without having to follow up with you. But so if you can just learn if you are disciplined. But if you want more structured discipline, go and do the job ready Python with Mr. Ademola. I'm very sure it will be worth your time. It will be worth everything you invest in it. So see you in the group if you're not already there. And I shared the link earlier, so I saw some people are already joining. So every day we share ideas that we share. I think next week we'll be talking about parenting and all that. So we talk about different things: academics, career, finance, fitness, leadership, marriage, parenting, personal development, relationships, and spirituality. We talk about all of these things week by week. So, and we have very nice conversations all the time. So see you there if you are able to join. And once more, I thank you so much, Mr. Ademola Morebise. Thank you so much for your time. We do not take it for granted. Thank you for being so resourceful. We are blessed in all you do. In Jesus' name, thank you.